OptiSnap connector. To prepare an OptiSnap connector, remove a connector from the case, remove the soft black plastic boot, and discard. Remove the clear dust cap and set aside for later. Load the OptiSnap tool, open the door, ensure that the cam is closed. Press the black load button to release the load clamp. Insert the connector metal side down into the cam. Bring the load clamp down onto the connector to hold it securely in place. Slide the VFL down over the connector and push it until it stops. Turn the tool on. You should have a green light. If you have an amber flashing light, that means to reseat the connector and power cycle the tool. Close the cover. Set this aside for later. To prepare the fiber, select the appropriate boot size for the end of the fiber. There are 3 sizes in every kit. We're going to be using the biggest boot with the largest hole in the end. The other 2 boots are used for different size fibers and not used in this application. Bring in your prepared fiber on the loose buffer tube. Slide your boot on, tapered side first. Now we're going to measure to 60 millimeters. Lay your fiber on the card and make a mark at 60 millimeters. Using your 3-hole fiber tool, open it up. We're going to be using the largest hole in the top of the tool to strip this outer buffer off. One quick snip around the outside, slide this off, and discard that. Release the fiber from the yellow yarn. Take one of these copper crimp sleeves, slide this down over the fiber, pushing the yarn down the outer buffer tube and out of your way. Now we're going to take a mark from this point where the yarn folds down onto the tight buffer. We're going to measure this at 11 millimeters. Set the edge of that at 11 and mark it at 0. This tight buffer here is going to come off. We're going to take this off in small pieces using the 3-hole fiber tool again by using the center hole. Firmly grip the fiber, close it around there, slide it off, and discard that. You are exposing a white coated fiber in there. The next step is to remove the coating once I get down to my 11 millimeter mark. Using the smallest hole in the fiber stripper, place it around the base of the fiber near the tight buffer. Firmly grip the tight buffer again, and in one motion scrape off that white coating. This exposes the glass on the fiber. Now I need to clean this. Take my fiber solution, open the tab, grab one of the cloths, get a little bit of fluid on there, wrap it around the fiber until it's squeaky clean. Discard the cloth, set your fluid aside. Now we're going to cleave this fiber. This fiber is too long for the connector. Taking the cleaver in one hand, you have a red and black button and a blue button. You also have a track or a sled. The 2.9 side of that sled needs to be facing up. Press in the black and red buttons. That releases the internal clamps. Slide your fiber in until it stops on its own. There's a positive stop. Release those 2 buttons. Now the fiber is being held inside the cleaver. One tap of the blue button. Now your fiber is cleaved. Press the black button to release your fiber. Pay attention to the fiber that's sticking out of the end of the cleaver, as this, we'll take care of this later, but this will be a hazard, so set your cleaver aside. Taking your pre-installed connector in the connector tool and your cleaved and cleaned fiber, we're going to insert this fiber inside that metal ferrule. Once it gets inserted, there's a positive stop on there. I'm going to press this blue cam button and look for a green light on the tool. If I have a green light, I can spin the green clamp. That compresses the connector. Now I can open the top, hold my connector in place, slide the VFL up to release it from the connector, press the black load button to release the connector from the tool. Reset your cam, turn the tool off, set this aside. Put your dust cap back on your connector to prevent damage and dirt from getting on the end. Slide your copper crimp sleeve down past the end of the yarn, back up over so the crimp sleeve touches the base of the connector. Right here, you're going to have some yarn sticking out. The blue crimp tool is used to crimp your copper crimp sleeve around the yarn at the base of the connector. One squeeze of that, now this is crimped, and I can discard the rest of this yarn. Take the connector, put the purple base between two fingers, and push on the end of the dust cap to release the base. That's trash. Slide your boot up to your connector. The date code on the top of the connector will match on the boot where it says UC. Push that over the crimp sleeve until it touches the base of the connector. One of these green outer sleeves is the last step. The notch on the top of the sleeve will match the date code on there. Push it over the connector until you hear it snap. That's a properly crafted OptiSnap connector. Once you're finished crafting your connector, you need to scope it to ensure the tip of this connector is clean. Remove the dust cap, set this aside. Grab your JDSU USB scope that's plugged into your ONX meter. Match this notch on the metal with the notch on the connector. Insert this. Turn on the fiber scope on the meter. It's in the fiber section of the meter. Gently spin the connector inside the metal tip to get a good reading on there. This silver knob on here is a focus knob. I can bring it in and out of focus this way. The larger gray button on there is a zoom button. You can zoom in or zoom out, and the small gray button is an analyze button. As you can see, this is a dirty connector. I'm going to remove this from the tip. I'm going to take my one-click cleaner and I'm going to give it one-click clean. Open the top, push it on there, one click. Rescope it to ensure cleanliness. If I think it's clean, the small gray button on here, I can press that, and that's an analyze button. The meter will now analyze that connector to see if there's any dirt or debris that I may have missed during cleaning. That connector checks out, everything is clean within the core. I am all set with this. I can remove the connector from there, immediately replace the dust cap to ensure cleanliness, turn this over, and turn my meter off.